Hey guys, I'm Daisho, and I am here bringing you another deck guide. I know you guys have been asking for these all the time, but I had to take a little break from them because I haven't been playing much, and I kind of finished all the decks that I love the most, and now we're moving on to the decks that are not as good, but especially this one, it's still a pretty decent deck, and you can still actually win a lot. But anyway, I'm going over the Guardians of the Wood, which is the elf deck in this game, and I have to say I did something a little strange with this deck that I'm not 100% sure if I recommend, but I definitely like playing it this way, and it makes it more fun, it makes it more consistent. Not sure 100% if it makes it better all the time, but it definitely makes it better for the most part. Alright, so anyway, I took out all the black from this deck, and the black in this deck is actually amazing for removal, and it's really useful to have in this deck because otherwise this deck really has no removal. So you might want to leave it in if you're worried about stuff like that, but for a lot of the matchups, removal may not necessarily be the most important thing, and you might want to just build up your elf force and just swing in and mash their heads off. And that's pretty much what this deck is about. So I am going to start going through it now. I'm going to first go through the deck, and then I'm going to go through the cards that I didn't use, and then tell you why. So right off the bat, though, there aren't going to be any black cards in, and not because they're bad cards, but because I didn't really want them in this deck. Also, at the end of this video, there's going to be a short little video of me winning a match, which is something that I guess I kind of copied from WMG. I was thinking about doing it from before, but they do it in their Sexy 60 videos, which is basically they just restart the deck and then they go through it and they're like, all right, I want this in, this in, this in, and then they narrow it down. It's a really good video. You should go check them out if you haven't, because I know that a couple people who are subscribed to me haven't found them yet, but you definitely should. Anyway, WMG is Weapons of Mass Gaming, their YouTube channel. Sorry, some people don't know that. Anyway, moving on. Elvish Eulogist is a 1-cost 1/1. Sacrifice, you gain life. So most of the time you don't like to have gain life cards, but the thing about this guy is he's a creature also, so you can just basically block with it and then sacrifice it. So it's really useful because it allows you to it allows you to use it as a creature, swing with it, whatever you want to do, and then still maybe gain some life. The life isn't that important, but if I took this card out, it would be for Norwood Ranger. So the only benefit for Norwood Ranger, it has one more defense, one more toughness or whatever. Anyway, this card is also, I don't know, there's really no point in having it in here because there's so few enchantments in this format, but if you want to destroy an enchantment, then why not? By the way, in the middle of this video, I think I'm going to make one change that I've been wanting to do for a little while. I just forgot to do it before the video. I apologize for that. But anyway, Azuri's Archers is pretty good. It's a 1-cost 1/2, plus it has reach, and not only that, it can kill flyers, because it can kill any flyer with 4 toughness as long as it's blocking, which is really amazing. Jiraga Warcaller is one of the best cards in the deck. There's a lot of cards in this deck that, like, alright, what I'm going to say is that there's, like, fodder elves, and then there's super elves. So he's one of the super elves. He's one of the cards that once you get, it enables you to win the game, as opposed to the fodder elves, which help you, help the super elves' powers to be useful. This sounds ridiculously stupid, but now that I'm saying it. But anyway, multi-kicker means that you can kick him as many times as you want. So to play him as a 1/1, he costs 1, but then any more than that, you're going to have to kick him. Every time he's kicked, he gets a +1/+1 counter, but the part that makes him so good is that for however many +1/+1 counters, so for however many times you pay 1 and green mana, all your other elf creatures get +1/+1. So that means that all your other elves are going to get way stronger. If you wait until late in the game, till you have 7 mana out, then all your elves are going to get +3/+3, which is amazing. +3/+3 is literally, like, it's almost game over worthy, especially if you have 4 or 5 creatures out, because then you have, instead of 4 or 5 1/1s or 1/2s, you have 4 or 5 4/4s. So anyway, I hope you guys could follow that. But an important thing to note is that your other creatures, other elf creatures, do not get +1/+1 counters. So if this guy dies, then your other elf creatures go back to being 1/1s. So you have to make sure that you don't swing in with this if it might die. Especially if they have first strike. If they have a creature with first strike and it kills him before your other creatures deal damage, then they won't get the plus whatever. So you gotta be careful of that. Might of the Masses is probably the best card in this deck. I know it's a common and it's an instant, but I think I just played... Alright, so there was one series where I played, I think, 7 games against somebody, and he was using Ancient Depths every time. He was actually using an Ancient Depths deck that was focused on lower creatures also, in addition to mana ramping and higher creatures. So it was a little interesting, and it was way more difficult for this deck to defeat. But every time that not every time, 3 out of the 4 times I won because of this card. Basically, okay, first of all, do not use this card to kill a creature. If you have 2 creatures out and they swing in with a 3/3 and you have a 2/2, then do not block with the 2/2 and then use Might of the Masses to kill their creature. This card can be used to win you the game so much easier. Let's say you have 7 creatures out. That means, and then you swing in with all of them. So that basically means that you get a free 8 damage in, because they're not going to be able to block all 7 of your creatures, so one of the creatures is going to get through, and then, since this is an instant, you can play this card, and then that creature gets +7/+7. So this is one of the best cards in the deck. Make sure that you use it appropriately, and don't waste it, basically. Norwood Ranger is just a 1-cost 1/2. It's one of those fodder elves. Elvish Visionary, I love it when I draw these cards, because it basically says, alright, you get to play a 1/1 elf, which counts for all your elf benefits, and then you get another card. So maybe you need a forest, or maybe it's just another elf. Nisa's Chosen is pretty decent. It is a 2/3. I don't really like its ability that much, to be honest. I would rather have it just go to my graveyard, because for Elvish Eulogist or something, I don't know. It's really not that useful to have another card on the bottom of your deck, especially when there's no mill, and in this deck there's no shuffling, so it's pretty much useless. The ability, it's actually just worse. Plummet is just in case you're having trouble with flying. There's not that many things to deal with in this deck that can deal with flying, so that's for that. Viridian Emissary, I previously have stated that this card is not really good for the elf deck, and I maintain that. If you're going to play this deck as a green-black deck, then take out Viridian Emissaries. But the way it's set up, because take out Viridian Emissaries, because this deck is based on getting all your elves out, having 10 elves out, then swinging in with all of them and using Might of the Masses on one of them. If you use this card, it is contrary to that. This card is basically, I'm just going to keep swinging until you kill this guy, and then I get a free land. And they don't want to kill it because they don't want to give you a land. So it kind of makes them not want to block it. But this card, for it to be worth it for you, it has to die, which is not something that you really want in this deck. You want all your elves to survive. So now we're getting into the 3-cost cards, and these are basically what I was calling super elves. Alright, Azuri, Renegade Leader, this guy's amazing. Make sure that you note that the bottom effect, the elf creatures you control get +3/+3 and gain trample, is an instant. You don't have to do this until after they declare after they declare blockers. You can play this ability. So you can say, I don't know, maybe I don't want to use this ability, maybe I just want to regenerate my elves. Then you see how he blocks, and you're like, okay, well now I can win the game. All I have to do is just tap these 5 mana. So you have to make sure you do that. Plus he can regenerate any one of your other elves. Just make sure to note that he can't regenerate himself, so don't count on that. Imperious Perfect, another one of the super elves. It gives all of your other elves +1/+1, plus you can make more elves. So when it says tap 1, put a 1/1 green elf warrior token onto the battlefield, it's really a 2/2 elf warrior token, so that's already amazing. Jagged Scar Archers is another one of the ways that you can deal with flying. Plus, I mean, it doesn't hurt that it gets to be a really strong creature once you have some elves out, so that's pretty amazing, but it's not like so amazing. It's a good card though. It's useful. Titiana's Chosen is a good card, especially because there's so many 1-drops here. I'm just going to bring up the deck stats for a second. Look at that. There are 13 1-drops and 10 2-drops, and every single card in this deck is green. So, as you can see, getting a +1/+1 counter for every green spell is really useful. Plus, if your opponent has green in his deck also, then that's really useful. Elvish Promenade is just one of those cards that are freaking amazing. It doubles your amount of elves. So if you have this card out, then it's just going to make him twice as strong as he already is. If you have Might of the Masses, then it's going to add whatever plus whatever. And then you come on to Heedless One, who has Trample, and his power and toughness are equal to the number of elves you control. So it doubles his power, and this card is so much better than Jagged Scar Archers, mainly because it has Trample. Jagged Scar Archers you can just block with a 1/1. It's not such a big deal, but anyway, Lisalon Huntmaster is another really good card. I kind of wish there was a few more of him in the deck, but What can you do? Whenever you play an elf spell, you get another elf, and it just adds up really quickly, especially if you draw them in the starting hand. Sometimes, occasionally, if I start with like a couple of Norwood Rangers, then maybe I'll wait a few turns before I play them. That way I can get Lieslan Huntmaster out and then do that. Anyway, there was one thing that I wanted to do. This card is 3 cost 2/2, which isn't terrible, plus a lot of people run artifacts, so it's useful. And Elven Riders is a 5 cost for a 3/3. Even if you're attacking with it every turn, it's just not the way the deck likes to run. I would rather have the ability to kill some of my opponent's stuff, artifacts, because sometimes you like run up against somebody and he's got like Argentum armor out there, and then you have no responses for it, but then you can just play that card. So it's not and it's a 3 cost for a 2/2. Nothing that you really want to be paying, but it's not the worst thing in the world. I'd rather it than a 5 cost 3/3. Anyway, let's move on. We already went through Norwood Ranger. Sylvan Ranger is something that I had in the deck at one point, but I took out because it's really just for mana fixing, which is basically if you want swamps, but you only have forests, then you can just play Sylvan Ranger, go get yourself a swamp, and then you can use it to play your other cards. But since I took out all the swamps, it's not worth it. One Viridian Emissary just didn't really fit in the deck, I guess, so I didn't leave him in. Eyelight's Ending is an amazing card. Destroy target non-elf creature. It's an instant, and it will destroy anything on the board pretty much, because most decks don't run elves. There are a couple of elves, and you have to take that into account. But anyway, this card is a sorcery, but it destroys target non-land permanent, so it can destroy anything: artifacts, enchantments, creatures, anything that's not a land. And that's not indestructible, I guess. It can kill any of those, plus it kills all other permanents with the same name, so sometimes that's useful. Usually people don't have that many duplicates out on the field at the same time. Wildheart Invoker is a weird card. Like, if you get 8 mana out, then it's useful, but you usually don't. Even without it, it's still a 4 cost 4/3, which isn't terrible. It's not the worst card in the world, but it's not really good enough. I think that there's nothing that you really want to be taking out for these. I'd rather have cheaper elves that are just like elf fodder, or fodder elves or whatever. Essence Drain is a 5 cost card. It deals 3 damage to them and you gain 3 life, so that's not terrible. Especially, I mean, it can kill some creatures sometimes. Sometimes it's useful in the game life, but it's 5 cost and it's black. Well, that sounded racist. I'm sorry, but anyway, this card is also really, really good. At the beginning of your upkeep, you may have target opponent discard a card at random, so that's amazing. Because let's say they have a great card in their hand and they want to play it the next turn or whatever, but you got this guy out, then they have to throw it away. And whenever they discard a card, you get a 1/1 elf. So this card would definitely be in the deck, except for the fact that I took out all the black. And then Epic Proportions, I don't understand this card. Like, why would they put this card in the deck? Why couldn't they not just give me another Lieslan Huntmaster or something? It's completely contrary to the deck, giving a card +5/+5 and trample for 6 cost. Like, I mean, it does have flash, which is really cool, because then you can wait until after they declare blockers or whatever. Like, just throw it on Jagged Scar Archers after they declare it as blocked by a 1/1 or whatever, and it's a 12/12 already, and now it's a 17/17, but with trample, I mean, so it's really useful. But anyway, that is it for this deck breakdown. I took out all the black. I like the way it runs. It's not 100% perfect, and this deck is still somewhere in the middle, I'd say. Either 5th, probably about 5th ranked. I'll go through my whole deck breakdown some other time, but anyway, I'm going to attach a one-on-one battle that I played with this deck. It's almost exactly the same. It's maybe a little bit different, but it's about the same. So I hope you guys enjoyed, and have a wonderful day. Bye. Hey guys, I'm IzDaisho, and I'm back. Same matchup, Wielding Steel versus whatever elf deck I'm playing, the mono-green elf deck. And my opponent, I like this hand. I like this hand a lot, because I got this guy who can block flyers, and he's just, yeah, I'm definitely keeping this. And I play first. I would rather start with one more land, but I'll accept it. Got that 1/2 out there, turn 1. It's definitely better to play the 1/2 turn 1, because he's got a couple of 1/1 1-drops. And anyway, sorry Sinister, I usually don't like playing, I don't know, maybe I'll play after this game, maybe I'll invite him. Alright, he's got a 2/1. See, the problem with playing the elf deck is I really hate trading, and especially since I've got a Might, especially since I've got a Might of the Masses in my hand, I am not going to swing in here. I really don't, I don't want to lose my one creature. Like, I barely have any creatures in this deck with reach, and I don't want to lose them this early. But this guy is so good. Whenever a player casts a green spell, put a +1/+1 counter on him, and I've got a bunch of I got only green spells in this whole deck, so it's perfect for me. Did he really start with 1 land again? Come on, man. I wanted to check the leaderboards to see what this guy is. All right, he played Trusty Machete. It looks like he again did not. Oh, down to 125. Come on, Daisho, I gotta pick it up. What's his name? All right, it's my turn. Yeah, Selfish Visionary. All right, I'll play that next turn. But for now, we got this guy, and next turn I'll be able to play at least 2 green spells. Hopefully, I'll draw a land. I don't know, but I get to swing in with my Niece's Chosen, free 2 damage. I'll take it. He's not gonna block there. Let's see. I wanted to see if this guy was a high rank. He seems like it. He's played well. I don't see his name, but what did he play? Gideon's Lawkeeper. All he has to do is tap 1 mana and tap that creature to tap me down. It's a pretty good creature. But look at this guy. He's not starting with any lands. Bad move on his part. Like, he made the same mistake last game. I don't know, maybe he would have gone down to 6 and he didn't think that he would have any chance, but alright, so we got to play 2 green spells, hit our land drop. That guy's up to a 3/3. I'm not gonna swing in with him here because I don't want to risk him dying this early, considering that like he could double block. I really doubt he would. But it's just not worth it because next turn there's a good chance that my creature's going to get stronger. Alright, he hit his 2nd land drop, which means that he can equip Trusty Machete to someone else. But it still only has 2 toughness. And yeah, he's not going to swing there. The only problem is, ooh, Might of the Masses. God damn. Alright, I don't know what to do here. I could... Let's see, I've got 5 creatures out. Wow, I already have 5 creatures out. So if I swing with everyone... Then we got 1, 2, 3. Oh, alright, so he's going to block this guy and this guy. So we got 3, 10 coming in. Yeah, alright, I'm going to do this. Mainly because my Titiana's Chosen... Oh, hold on. You're letting it through? Okay, well then I win. Alright, well, that was a bad move on his part. He should... I mean, I guess he just didn't consider that I had those cards in my hand. I don't know. Whatever. Do I win the game? I think I win. I haven't calculated it, but... Alright, and he gets a +1/+1 counter, so I have 8. Yeah, I definitely won this game. Alright, well, that was another super speedy victory for the Elves. It's looking pretty good. Like, this deck is actually running really smoothly. It's unfortunate that it has no removal, but the removal was all black and it was hard to get, and like I think it really slowed the deck down a little bit too much. There was 1 good creature that had black in it, but the rest of there was no other really good creatures. I don't know. I like the way this deck is running. I'm gonna keep playing with it, keep experimenting, and come to a conclusion later. And then after I come to the conclusion, maybe I'll give you guys another ooh, that player quit the game. Maybe I'll give you guys my official deck list for the Elves, but hope you guys enjoyed. Have a nice day. Bye.